and welcome to the Liquidity Event.
It's me, Shane.
And me, AJ.
And this is episode 21 of the Liquids event.
I got no liquids. I got no liquids left in me.
You had a rough week?
Yeah. A good week.
What happened to your week?
My week disappeared into thin air. On Monday, I thought it was Tuesday. So I was so convinced it was Tuesday. I barked at one of our staff members for not getting something done. And they were like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I literally thought it was Tuesday.
Wasn't it our podcast?
It was
helper?
our podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, where's the articles? They're not ready to go.
Where's all the work? Give me the articles.
I need those articles.
We've had this assistant with the podcast for 1 week and we've already barked at her, I think twice. She was out for one day last week and I was like, hey, I need you to do this on this day. She's like, as a reminder, I'm out of office that day. Like,
yeah.
Oh, right.
Yep. We're great bosses, by the way. What are you reading this week?
I'm reading resumes, the same thing you're reading, because we are staffing up. We're always reading. Oh, here comes an audio.
It's been a week since I've been with my soundboard, so it's going to be a roulette wheel here.
Please put some titles on. Get a label maker. That's what I'm going to get you for Christmas. It's a label maker for that soundboard, so we don't get.
It's too late.
Okay. I had my first interview with somebody from my college, the University of Mississippi, today, so I'm a little bit partial. I think.
Oh, you got a favorite? All right, you got a horse in this race.
I got a horse in the race for summer 2022. By the way, he listened to every episode of the podcast, supposedly. So
hired for sure.
So Ethan, if you're listening, email me Sheboygan, and you're locked in the job right there, buddy. Testing you.
Whoa. Talk about making promises you can't keep, Mr. Shane Mason, folks.
Yeah, not great at managing.
Speaking of which, what are you drinking? Wrong one.
Oh my God, let it go.
You've got mail.
This is something you've been fantasizing about nailing for 2 years.
Not gonna get it.
You've got mail.
Nope. Load feed.
Load feed. Okay. All right.
Got it. There we go. What you drinking?
Good Lord. Is the listener still there? You still there, listener?
You guys, they're still there? Cool. What are you drinking? Answer the question.
Oh my God. I'm still taking it easy this December, so I'm not drinking anything right now. Boring.
Is that your sound effect?
I'm saving space for New Year's Eve.
Okay. And where in the world are you located right now?
I'm in Houston. I'm at my sister's house. If the listener hears about 72 mid-sized dogs going wild in the background, that's because there are four pups here. So we're going to add a little flavor, a little dog pound action to the background. Where you're let me guess.
I'm at home. I'm at home in Brooklyn.
But weren't you just in LA? Did we record our last episode while you were in LA?
We did, yeah. My dad interrupted us, remember?
Right. And you're going to Puerto Rico next week?
We're going to Puerto Rico tomorrow.
Are you going to record from Puerto Rico?
No, I'm going to a super quick Puerto Rico trip. I'm going for 4 nights, so I'll be back Monday afternoon.
A Puerto Rápido?
Sí.
Wow. That was a little long. How many years of high school Spanish was that one?
3.5, 4, 5. Okay. I don't know. How many years of high school?
Feliz vacaciones, mi amiga. What are you drinking?
Gracias. I'm just drinking some water. I need to hydrate these days. That's my main focus.
Look at us. We're growing up.
We're growing up. Good for us.
Ew.
Speaking of growing up, what do you got for me in terms of IPO watch this week? Anything exciting?
That was a terrible segue. Oh, I guess that could work because you're growing up and you're becoming a public company. That's some BKFI humor. Mm-hmm. That's a BKFI. Wait, you're not going to ask me what we're doing for fun? You know you're going to try to skip over what I wrote here because I already told you.
I wanted you to talk about it later as your no-brainer. I was actually saving you.
Oh.
Fine, Shane. Tell everyone what you're doing for fun.
I'll save it for later. I'll save it for you. We have an agenda, AJ.
Sounds good.
And it doesn't include 2 minutes for random noises over the soundboard.
Speaking of agendas and not following them, today we had an all-company meeting, and there was a portion of it where it was upcoming, and I was like, oh no, this is going to be really boring and awful for everyone. And for the first time ever in a Zoom meeting, I did breakout rooms,
Mm-hmm.
and it's awesome. That was an experiment on the fly thing, and I think it worked out really well. So for those of you who have run Zoom meetings before with more than 20 people and wanted to do breakout rooms, shout out to you. It's awesome. I thought it went well, right?
April of 2020 is calling, and they want their Zoom feature back. Breakout. No. What was my no-brainer of the week last? That was like 2 years old. Oh, Pelotons. Get a Peloton.
Get a Peloton. Yeah. You're a little late to that game.
Yeah, my sister has a Peloton.
Although you might save their stock price.
Yeah. Wow. Anyone listening, SPM CPA. I'm trying to hit that December challenge, 150 miles. Hit me up. Could use a bike friend. I'm on the Colts. Let's go.
You're in it. All right. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. I love that look for you.
I'm sporty spice now. I'm no longer scary. All right. Well, to answer your question about IPOs, there are no IPOs this week. It is not Oscar season for IPOs. We do have a couple listings that are folks on foreign exchanges. We've got 2 Australian companies that are in the health. Strangely enough, 2 Australian companies in the healthcare space. One's a health tech startup, and what's the other one? It's health care. It's just regular healthcare. Biotech?
Yeah, biotech.
Yeah. So they're on the Australian Stock Exchange, but they are doing a foreign listing on the US. We're probably going to do some sort of bonus episode at some point where we expand on or explain and educate our audience on what the hell it means to be a foreign company and list also in the United States and be listed on 2 different stock exchanges at the same time. It's kind of like being tethered to the dollar. It should improve the liquidity. Having more liquidity is always good for companies. I guess maybe unless you're getting a hostile takeover is happening. Shout out to the Succession finale.
I was going to say, speaking of which, I thought you always yell at me whenever I talk about any spoiler, so I wasn't even going to say that, but since you said it.
It's introduced in like episode 4 of the season, so it's not a spoiler.
Okay.
So watch a bonus episode for the holidays. We're also considering adding some guests bonus episodes to get us through the holidays.
Are we?
I didn't tell AJ.
Did you invite someone on our podcast?
Yeah,
Have I been replaced?
To introduce my niece and nephews, Mason and Mayo. Come on in. Come on down. Tell me about your allowance.
Tell me about what it's like to be a 7th grader. I would be a great guest, actually.
They are sophomores in high school.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. So a 10th grader.
Mm-hmm. They're very sweet.
Let's get into some general market updates and investing. The SEC wants to cut SPACs down to size.
Mm-hmm. What size do they want to cut them down to? What's the appropriate size for a SPAC?
They're still figuring it out. The SEC usually introduces the start of policy changes with some kind of fanfare. So there's a speech. Gensler gets up and says, SPACs have, there's been a lot of talk that SPACs have less scrutiny, which means there's not enough disclosure to investors. So we could potentially see more disclosures required for financials. So the kind of loophole that this article is talking about is that SPACs are allowed to show forward-looking projections rather than what's happened in the past, which can potentially mislead investors. Just to remind everybody that the SEC exists to protect investors from misleading information. So this is them flexing that muscle, considering we've seen hundreds of SPACs go public and a few mergers this year as well too. What else we got? General financial planning and culture. What do you got for me, Shane?
Yeah, well, yet another study is exploring the wealth inequality over generations and how it has been piling up. I believe this is an article from Business Insider about the study done by the World Inequality Report, a huge undertaking by the economic and inequality experts Lucas Chancel, Thomas Piketty. I still have your copy of Capital in the 21st century, by the way.
I read 13% of that book.
Really? That's impressive. I have read 0% of that book. And it's in storage in Brooklyn or in Jersey.
You know who loves that book more than anything?
What?
My friend Josie. So shout out Josie for turning me on to that book.
Josie read that book, The Painter, the Bohemian ne'er-do-well. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, Thomas Piketty, who wrote Capital in the 21st Century, which was a blockbuster tomb of a doorstop paperweight, which explored wealth inequality all the way back to the 1740s in France, I believe, which is well into the pre-French Revolution. And I explored the aristocracy there and how things have not gotten much better over the last few hundred years. Anyway, they wrote this wealth inequality report that essentially cements the fact that there is no such thing as trickle-down economics. Capitalism does embrace or allow for an overall lifting of lifestyles and quality of life, but the folks at the top tend to hoard all of the wealth. So quality of life has been fantastic for folks at the top of the food chain for the past 300 years. And things are getting better for those of us at the below the top 10%. But I do love my own little quip about how trickle-down economics is, in fact, trickling down, and there is no gush of water from the top to the bottom. It is a trickle, and wealth is more like the billionaires controlling the Hoover Dam, and we're all at the end of the Colorado River just dying for a little bit of a release of
dying of thirst.
Yeah, they're continuing to amass more and more wealth, and it's a study over 20 years of a global study over the last 20 years to back up the studies over the last few hundred years. So, yeah, Business Insider, check it out. No big surprises there, just more bad news for those of us at the bottom of the capitalist food chain. What else you got?
I've got an article from the New York Times about just the title of this article is Sharing Hard-Won Money Lessons to Build Generational Wealth. And it's about how communities of color face legislative issues, redlining, higher interest rates, lower pay compared to their peers. And basically it's about the piles of shit that are put onto communities that are not middle class white in major cities. And basically it's talking about a financial planner who is going and has this coaching business to help people kind of with like the trauma of going through all of these things at once. There's a quote from this article. "I got divorced and lost my father while I was in grad school," was Miss Wamala said, "because money wasn't something we talked about heavily growing up. It was during that time I accumulated the majority of my debt, which was student loans and credit cards." So again, this is something we talk about all the time on the show. Just extreme wealth inequality, not being able to kind of dig out of the hole. The system is not set up to support people when there is a crisis. So, person does all the right things, gets a high school diploma, goes to college, graduates from college, goes to work, and then maybe there's an elder parent they have to take care of. Maybe there's a sister they have to take care of. All of a sudden, there's much more burden put on them rather than someone coming from a privileged background who's got, a parent who could help them out if they can't make rent that month. So definitely a must-read article from the Times. You've got a lighthearted, fun one here that's, I think, very true to your heart.
Yes, indeed. As someone that was born to game and forced to podcast, this one is very near and dear to my heart. This article is from the Wall Street.
It's like the third time you said that this week to me.
No, I say born to game, forced to work.
Right, whatever.
Yeah, I paused my game to be here, which is one of my favorite T-shirts of all time. Anyway, yeah, this is just a cute article from the Journal about how competitive video gaming is having a senior moment in Japan. And it's an article about how, the Japanese population is, I thought we had a Japan section, a Japanophile section. We just put a bunch of Japanese articles in here without even noticing that we have.
Yeah, we just always anything that as I read headlines, I'm just like, Japan, yep, goes in the podcast. Got to talk about it.
Right. Yeah. Oops. Anyway, so there's senior population in an effort to get them out of the house and to get them to socialize. One of the ways that that Japan is attempting to keep their senior population active is through competitive video gaming, which actually isn't that terribly surprising for the Japanese culture. But it's just like a really fun, lighthearted article about there's this lady, Miss Oyama, whose player name is just Mama. who is she's on the Matagi Snipers, which is a senior esports team, and she's doing like a fun little pose with her gaming headset, and her T-shirt has the snipers on it. I guess the Mataga is like a bear up in the Hokkaido region in the north of Japan, and it's just fun to see like seniors trying to I think they're just trying to accrue 100 kills per month, which is like true video gamers
Is
are
that
like
not a lot?
yeah. Yeah, it's not a lot. It's like
I would gather that it's not a lot.
yeah, that's like 3 or 4 games for a young
I mean,
a young buck. That's like a couple hours. But it's dope that they're getting in there and trying new things.
yeah, I mean, well, I just was thinking about how a lot of like over the past couple years we've seen this like it's Uber for groceries, it's Uber for this. Like what is the next great opportunity going to be for startups? And what we have aging populations in every country. I think Japan, I forget the statistics, but they live a lot longer, so they have a lot of their population is getting older. So like what are the millennials and Gen Zer company founders going to come up with to house, care for, feed, keep their grandparents entertained? Like to me, like that's an exciting, like I don't know if it's exciting, but like to me that's like an incredible like market opportunity. Like, and this is an example of that. Like how do you keep your brain active into your 90s? Gaming seems like maybe cool. Like, you know, you need something to live for, right? Like I gotta make 100 kills this month. Like
yeah.
I'm getting up with my buddies. I'm in a game. Like I'm not going anywhere. Like I take my medicine. Like everything's cool. I love
Feel
this.
Feel that. You think that you get your mom to play a shooter?
No, it'd be too violent for her, but I could definitely get her to play Mario Kart for sure. She would love Mario Kart if she doesn't already.
While younger players tend to be more violent, older players can communicate better and lean on teamwork, she said.
So they'd be good at like
more violent
World of Warcraft, where that's like a team sport.
That is definitely a team sport. Yeah. I mean, you know, we always joke about how there's going to be a bunch of dudes playing Halo in the retirement home in the year 2065. I mean, that's already happening in the year 2021.
Yeah.
Competitive esports teams. Good on them.
Sorry, can we just talk about how the year, like, it's going to be 2022? I keep entering the date wrong on things. This happens to me every year. Like, I can't get over the fact that it's the year 2022. I have nothing interesting to say other than the fact that I just want to call out on our 21st episode at the end of this year that there are 2 weeks left in this year and it's about to be 2022. Did you ever think you'd make it to 2022?
Well, yes, because if you add up 2022, you get 6. And if you do it 3 times, you get 666, Mark of the Beast, which just goes to show that jet fuel can't melt steel beams. And this is going to be the year.
All right. So
speaking of which.
Mic away. I'm going to cut you off. You got a good segue for me there?
Yeah, this is finally. I want to talk about how the coronavirus is an inside job created by. No, I don't have a good segue. We all know that conspiracy theories drive up listenership, AJ. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and throw some gas on a couple of fires here. If you had to embrace a conspiracy theory, what would it be? That there's lizard people.
Oh, I love lizard. I believe in lizard people. I think I am a lizard person also.
Uh-oh.
Anyways.
All right.
My feet are always very cold and clammy and disgusting. I think I actually am a lizard and I love Palm Springs. Anyway.
You want to talk about Stripe's IPO or non-IPO?
Yeah, it's funny. So Stripe, the payments company that anyone listening to this has definitely encountered at some point in their life.
That's whether they know it or not.
Yeah, exactly. Because Stripe is integrated into so many different things. So first I came across this. The CEO of the company was speaking at the FinTech Abu Dhabi festival and basically said, "We are very happy as a private company, and we're not going to go public," which seemed at odds with a Business Insider article that was congratulating the 15 power players that were leading the $95 billion company towards a liquidity event targeted for early 2022. So will Stripe go public? Yes or no? Was the CEO not on tight enough of leash, or does he know something we don't know? Time will tell.
Wait, like the mid-20s Irish guy?
Yeah. Yeah, so Stripe is founded by two Irish brothers. I feel like you'd be all about this company.
I
You
read
love
the
Ireland.
article. I first of all, I love Stripe. Yeah, it's something that felt like should have been a part of the internet 15 years ago. Whenever you're using PayPal in the mid aughts or whatever, I always felt like I hate PayPal. Frankly, it's so clunky, and I've never enjoyed using it. I understand that it was a breakthrough in making the internet work. Stripe is now a bigger part, or a very large part of the underlining, plumbing of the internet's payment systems. Stripe, Square, PayPal. I read all about this company. I'm a huge fan of Ireland. I've been to Ireland a few times over the past few years. I have some dear Irish friends that live over there, and they kept, these two fellows they were entrepreneurs in their. Also, this article is one of those articles that makes you feel like such an ass for not getting into tech when you were like in your 14s. I remember teach yourself how to code in C++ when I was a freshman in high school, and just like not ever cracking it because I was playing football. What could have been different? AJ, what could have happened?
Not much, honestly.
It might be a little scrawnier and a little less extroverted, but maybe a billionaire.
Perhaps.
I'm probably much happier this way. Anyway, so yeah, this is one of those articles that makes anyone that's not a billionaire Silicon Valley startup founder feel pretty guilty about not participating in that part of the economy. Anyway, so these two kids started. They were entrepreneurs. They're brothers, and when they were 16, they went to MIT. Came over from Ireland. I don't even know where in Ireland. I never heard of this part of the country, but they keep saying that it was Stripe is a company that the Valley built. Silicon Valley, and I kept thinking about Finn Valley in Donegal. I think that's a typo.
That's what they meant.
That's what they meant
That's
to
what
say.
they meant by the Valley.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, go Ireland. Huge fan of that country. They do have offices in Dublin. I bet they have got offices all over. They have a head of Africa, Asia, and Europe. So I'm sure they've got offices all around the world at this point. I mean, they're valued at $95 billion as a private company. So that makes them essentially a mega unicorn instead of a deca unicorn, which I think is funny.
One of my favorite terms from like econ class was the Celtic Tiger, which refers to the Irish economy, the boom in the Irish economy in the like late 90s, like early 2000s. So just like, if I was into tattoos and had a tie to Ireland, I would get a tattoo that said Celtic Tiger.
Oh, wow.
In Gaelic.
I'm glad you're not into tattoos. Good Lord.
Right. Ooh, got some articles about millennials,
Of course.
Love millennials. So this is Wall Street Journal article. Millennials feeling their own mortality during COVID-19 start writing their wills. So this is lots of people interviewed for this article. I think millennials should absolutely have wills. A will is just you describe wills as a love letter to your family members, which is, if you do not have a will, typically the state gets to decide what happens to your assets. So if you don't have any assets, typically probably don't need a will. If you have any assets, probably a good idea to get a will in place. So millennials are, I don't know if they're feeling their own mortality, or are they just realizing that financial planning is really important and that they've worked hard to save money or maybe experience a liquidity event and, want to make sure that their partner, who maybe they're not married to, or, a non-traditional parent actually gets taken care of in the event of their death. So I read this as finally millennials get a win. We've been like smashing avocado toast and driving up housing prices. And now finally the Wall Street Journal has given us a bone and recognized us for being smart about getting our wills in place.
Yeah. I mean, the millennials are normal, smart, responsible adults. So I guess we're going to see all kinds of articles about how we take care of our shit just like everybody else always has. So this is really annoying.
That's your take.
Your
take is fuck off, Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, no, I mean, millennials are, I don't even have there's so many takes on just putting millennials in the headlines drives clicks like 1,000-fold. And I guess we bought into it here.
Ooh, you got some a spicy tax story for me. What do you got here?
Yeah. I mean, I got this article. This is also from the Journal. I listened to it in a podcast, one of my very spicy tax legislative updates podcasts. No, it's not even legislative updates. It's cases, court cases that have gone and been decided. And as America works, Congress writes the bills, the IRS enforces the bills as part of the executive branch, and then the courts ultimately decide if it was legal to enforce it or to write a law that way, or if it's constitutional. And the courts ruled against this couple that tried to get a little too spicy with their IRAs. People just can't be happy with the stock market's guaranteed. I mean, not guaranteed, but
not guaranteed.
Right.
Definitely not guaranteed.
People are so afraid of the stock market, and they always are trying to work an angle in America. Everyone's working against each other all the time. So competitive here. And this is just another example of people mucking around with alternative assets and how it's a recipe for disaster. And what happened in this case is that this couple, people like physical things. Like they want to use homes as real estate. So this couple has gold coins, and they wanted to have their gold coins. And they also, I imagine at some point they were like, hey, we should put these gold coins into a tax advantaged account. And somebody advertised to them about these self-directed IRAs where you can pick the things, you can purchase the specific things, unlike an ETF or a mutual fund where you don't actually control the investments within them, but you do have an asset manager within them. They purchased some gold coins. They had a pretty fancy trust company become the trustee of their IRA, but they maintained the coins in a safe in their closet, which means that they participated in a prohibited transaction, which is the jargon there. Anyway, they're looking at like hundreds of thousands of dollars of fines because of the value of these gold coins and the penalties for self-dealing with prohibited transactions. Like imagine that you have a house and someone tells you that you can put your house into an IRA and then all the gains on the value of that house are not taxable because it's a tax advantaged account. You would consider it. There are rules against that. It's like, no shit, not everyone is doing this. And then you get a little bit too aggressive and it bites you in the ass. So you don't need these tactics to become wealthy. If the penalties for this are $300,000, then these people didn't need to do this in order to secure their financial future and their financial independence. So
yeah, I mean, these self-directed IRAs are like, yeah, it's let me do what I want with my money. It's my money. I'm going to work every angle. This is what Peter Thiel did with his with his PayPal shares, right? This is that self-directed IRA. Let me put my super low basis stock. And now we have laws in Congress that are going to limit good people from contributing to IRAs because of people trying to bend the system. I know. I want to make sure we have time to get to your no-brainer, Shane. So what is your no-brainer of the week?
No. Okay, I guess these other ones don't really matter. My no-brainer this week is to enjoy some team sports. Because I went to Austin. I used to work in Austin right out of college, made some friends there. I moved to New York after that, and I'm in Texas for the holidays, and I got to go see some old friends, some current friends that are now older. And we played baseball on Sunday, and your boy played baseball for 9 hours in a, what do you call it? Sandlot baseball team. And drank some, yeah. And your boy cracked a home run. So you'll be hearing about that.
Until the day I die.
For the next 6 years. About that homer I cranked in the bottom of the 22nd inning of Sandlot baseball.
Wow. Yeah. They used to call me Grand Slam Alley in high school on my.
Well, that wasn't because of baseball, was it?
It was absolutely because of baseball. You sick fuck. It was because of softball.
No, because you always go to Denny's and smash Grand Slams. Wow. Puerile.
My no-brainer of the week is related to yours. While I did not play baseball, I did have a very intense at-home workout. My no-brainer is Tiger Balm, which is a magical ointment that you can put on your sore muscles when you are old and work out infrequently, as Shane and AJ do. Tiger Balm is your friend. It costs about $10. Lifesaver, makes things all tingly and feel better.
I could barely feel I could still barely move around 3 days later after playing baseball. It's a good workout. Need some Tiger Balm.
Awesome. Ooh, wait, I forgot my CEO crush of the week.
Oh, who's this? Oh.
My CEO of the crush, oh my God, my
Oh, right.
CEO crush of the week is Anjali Sood, who's the CEO of Vimeo, who has a impeccable resume, Harvard Business School, and she was hired to expand Vimeo's business, led very, very successful funding rounds. She serves on many boards. She's in her 40s, very young, very accomplished. I've got my eye on you. Miss Sood and Vimeo. Love Vimeo, by the way. Great product. This has been Liquidity Event. I'm AJ. You can email us at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com. You can find the show notes to this episode at brooklynfi.com/episode 21. Thanks for listening.
Bye.